Greeting from Tromaville, and I'm here with Tromenda. Tell us, what are we fascinated with?
The Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 290. Tonight we're talking about Fire in the Sky, little film from 1993. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Joe. We have Steve. Men, what's going on? Joe, you had a big con. What's up with that?
Hey. Yes, I did. Yeah, I attended Monster Mania this past weekend. It was a blast. Shout out to Missy and her husband, boyfriend. I'm not really sure about that. I'm sorry. But yeah, shout out to them. I met up with them. We hung out. They had a horror trivia segment on Saturday, so we sat in for that. I had registered for it, and they actually called me up. So it was called Curse Your Luck. So it was like a version of Press Your Luck. I got totally robbed on one of the questions. I totally was the first to buzz in, and there was like an error. So then they like did a reset, and I got totally fucked on that.
Details.
No, I mean, it was just literally like so like people are really fast readers because like the questions like pop up and like before it's even being like I was even done reading, people were already buzzing in. So you got to be like a super fast reader apparently. But I was the first to buzz in on. There was a question. It was who played the lead role in American Psycho. So I fucking 100% first to buzz in. But it was like their first time doing it, so they were having a bunch of technical like errors and difficulties. So like they had to do like a reset. And then like I buzzed, yeah. So then like everyone buzzed in again. I didn't get it. So
for the same question, you had to buzz in again?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Right. But yeah, people were fast readers, man. There were some good ones. You know, there was good questions and stuff. I ended up, I think, with like 3 spins at the end of the day, and the leader ended up with like 5 spins. So I got all 3 spins. I didn't get so slashers were on the board as sort of the whammies. And if you got one of those, you ended up with 0 points or whatever. And yeah, I used all 3 of my spins, didn't hit any whammies. I just didn't get enough points. So I wasn't the winner, unfortunately, but it was a fun time. As far as the rest of the con went, yeah, it was pretty chill. You know, Saturday was crazy. Kiefer Sutherland, luckily I had my VIP pass, so I was done with him in like an hour, which was great. There were people literally waiting in line since like 3-4 in the morning who didn't end up even meeting him.
That's so stupid, man.
Yeah,
they need to really cap these things so that doesn't ever happen.
They gotta figure something out with at least the headliner guests, because like everyone else like was manageable line wise. I think the other person I waited the longest for was Jackie Earle Haley. I waited probably about an hour for him. He had a solid man. Alyssa Sutherland, though, I didn't even bother. Her line was fucking enormous all weekend. People were waiting a couple hours for her easily. So everyone had solid lines though. Like Dermot Mulroney also had like a really big line, which I negated him. I did meet the Shining twins, the Grady twins, or the Grady sisters, however you'd like to call them on that. I did get called out for calling the Grady twins in one of the horror fan groups, so I'm sorry about that, but it is correct. Yes, they weren't actually twins. They were just played by twins. But they were amazing. They were awesome. Yeah, they were only about a 20-minute wait. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, they were super like nice and welcoming. Amazing people. Also met Lorraine Bracco for you non-horror fans. Sopranos, Goodfellas. She was awesome as well. Her agent actually, when I was sitting up there signing, getting ready to meet her, saw my ex's tattoo, and he also represents Linda Blair. And he was like, "Oh," he's like, "You excited for the movie?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard she's gonna be in it." He's like, "What?" He's like, who'd you hear that from?" I'm like, "It's like all over the internet." He's like, "Well, we had to sign NDAs." He's like, "We can't really say anything about it." He's like, "But she might be in it." He was like, "It's a really cool story though." He's like, "I think people will really enjoy the movie." And yeah, so there was a little tidbit on that. And yeah, who else? I got a Lost Boys photo op. I dressed as David. My first time ever doing prosthetics. With the beard, it was a little complicated. Didn't look as good as I had hoped with the prosthetic, but it was okay. It did the job, and the photo op came out pretty cool. Fun story with that, I went to go stand in the middle, and Jason Patrick was like, "Oh, no, you absolutely need to stand next to Kiefer." And when I sat next to Kiefer kind of looked me up and down. He's like, wow, man. He's like, thanks so much for putting in all that effort. He's like, that's really cool. You did that and stuff. So he was so gracious, so nice. Even when I was in line to meet him, he shook every single person's hand in line. Kind of similar to when Steve and I met Sam Raimi, and he was doing he was taking a couple 2-3 minutes with every single person. So he seemed really genuine, seemed, happy to be there and in good spirits. Overall, just an awesome weekend. I also met Randy Quaid, Cousin Eddie. I did a photo op with him. I dressed as his character from Christmas Vacation, the Shitter's Full scene. So that was pretty funny. The photo op came out great. I posted all this in the Discord. So if you're not joining if you aren't in our Discord yet, this is a perfect example why you should be, so you don't miss out on fun photos and conversations like this. But great weekend. He had a pretty solid line all weekend, but his prices were fucking crazy. So $100 just for the autograph. If you wanted just a personalization, so if you wanted two Steve or two Todd, that's an extra $40, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
Just to write two Joe.
I don't know about that.
If you want his character name, that's another $40, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeez.
And if you want a quote, that's another $40. So for an autograph, personalization, quote, character name, you're looking at $220 right there. So
wow.
There you go. Plus, on top of that, if you wanted a photo with him at the table, that was another $60. So it would have cost you about almost $300 for a photo and full autograph from him. Kiefer Sutherland, by the way, only charging $100. So Randy Quaid more than the headliner if he went in with his quotes and personalizations.
Jeez. Did you get a SIG or just the photo op?
Well, with Randy, I just got the photo op. His line was just too long, and I was like, I'm not paying that much to wait in his line.
He needs the legal fees, man. He got he got kicked out of Canada, and he's got he got sued for his porno, I think. So
he got sued for porno?
Yeah, he made a porn, and apparently it caused some issues with some people. It's a whole thing. He's interesting character.
Mm-hmm. And also, I met Lloyd Kaufman. Had him do a little intro for the show. I don't know if Steve's going to attach it to this episode.
They've already heard it by this point.
Okay, they've already heard it. So yeah, it was
not Joe.
Compliments to Steve for editing it, because it was quite an ordeal getting that recorded. But he's fucking awesome. He's so amazing. I mean, he signs for free, takes pictures for free. I mean, just such a good dude. There's one other thing. One other fun tidbit. When I met Jackie O'Haley, I asked him about, if he ever talked to Robert. The man still has not talked to Robert to this day about their Freddy roles. He's like, yeah, no. He's like, I never reached out to him. He never reached out to me. He's like, and to this day still, he's like, I would love to. He's like, I would love to, talk to him. I was like, so that needs to happen at a con once this actor strike ends, doing a panel with the two Freddys, since they're both doing cons now. That would be I think a really interesting one. So maybe one day.
What about you, Steve? Anything going on?
Not much. Still sick. It's getting tired of it.
The Salem curse.
Yeah, the Salem curse lives on. I'm starting to go through a barrage of tests to figure out what's going on, because it's whatever it is, it sucks. And Todd, finally, you're back and gave us quite a scare there last week. So you feeling well? What's going on?
Feeling well. Long story short, getting old is not fun, as you can attest to, both of you guys, with random stuff that just pops up. One day you're fine, the next day you're in the emergency room because you have severe abdominal pain and you're going through all the tests, and the doctor's like, all right, I gotta go talk to the surgeon. I'm like, what? So I'm all right. It's just something every little boy will have to deal with eventually, I guess. I don't know, man. Your body's just fucking weird. But yeah, medical stuff aside, I'm super happy, man. The day before I went to the emergency room, I got the news that one of my short stories was bought by a publisher, and yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm humbled. It's cool. I've been, pumping out my stories, self-publishing, things like that. But for someone to have to read your stuff and approve it and then purchase it, it's an awesome feeling. And it's I think the publisher said he had 300 submissions and accepted 20 of them. So I'm like, fuck yeah, it's awesome. So my story is set in the 90s with three 12-year-old boys, and they're in the backyard camping out, like I'm sure all of us did, with their friends, telling stories, looking at Playboys, things like that. And they start talking about the local legend of old Dead-Eyed John. And supposedly he lives over on this haunted street that no one goes over because it's just decrepit and things like that. Of course, doing what boys do, they go over to this house to see if the legend is real. And let's just say that it doesn't end well for these gentlemen. So the anthology is going to be called Doors of Darkness, coming out probably at the end of this year, maybe next year, and put out through TerraCore Publishing. So I'm super pumped.
very proud of you, man. It's
Thank you.
awesome, and I
Yeah.
can't wait to get it and read it. And yeah, I think it's time that we go to our ad from Deadly Grounds Coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds Coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds Coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
All right, I'll watch.
Well watched. You guys both went to the movies, right? So what'd you guys see?
Sure, yeah. I'll do it since it was my only movie I watched this week with the cons in season in full effect. Yeah, which speaking of con season, September, I'm planning on doing a couple other cons. Anyone in the area, Silver Scream Con. If you're a big fan of Ice Nine Kills, it's their convention. They do a concert on Saturday nights. On a Saturday night, that is September 8th through the 10th in Danvers, Massachusetts. Pretty solid guest list there. Tony Todd, Skeet Ulrich, among others. The week after is TerrorCon, which is September 15th to the 17th. That also being in Massachusetts, that one in Marlborough, Massachusetts. So I don't know what days I'm going to be there. Since it's a local con, I'm not going to be there all 3 days. I'll probably hit it up Saturday or Sunday for either one of those. So yeah, if you're there, check it out. All right, to what watch now? So I went to the theaters. Steve as well. Not together, unfortunately, but we went and saw Talk. We went in spirit. Yes, I put my phone and I was looking at him. It was great. So we went and saw Talk to Me, which is the new highly anticipated A24 horror movie. This movie is about essentially these group of teens find this cursed, possessed hand. It's like sort of a ceramic hand. It has writing all over it. The legend goes is that there is an actual real hand encased in this sort of ceramic hand. And if you grab onto this hand, you will see the dead. And if you got to say, talk to me first, and then you'll see them. And then if you say, let me in, essentially the spirit will go into your body, but it has to be, I think, no more than 90 seconds, I believe it is. No more than 90 seconds. If it stays longer than 90 seconds, then you are basically allowing it to sort of stay and the door doesn't close. So yeah, our main character ends up doing it. It's sort of like this big sort of viral thing where their kids film it. It like gets on TikToks. People are like, oh, this is bullshit. Is this real? So our main character ends up doing it. She goes a little longer than she was supposed to, leaving the door open, and she starts seeing spirits and demons and whatnot from there on out. And she now has to figure out, how can we close this door? And I'll leave it at that. Yeah, so I love A24, so I was really excited to check this out. I will say, this is for an A24 movie. This is not your typical A24 movie, but it's certainly not a bad thing because I ended up really loving this movie. It's it's pretty straightforward to the point, but I also think there's definitely some metaphorical stuff in there if you really want to dig deep into it, but it's also very surface level as well. Very pretty basic plot synopsis. Sort of kind of reminded me of like Insidious meets The Sixth Sense in some ways. But yeah, man, there's some genuinely really scary shit in here. They did a really good job with the makeup effect on the demons and ghosts, whatever the hell you want to call them. I guess I'm calling them sort of demons in this. But man, there's some great stuff in here. The acting is top notch all around, pretty much from all of our actors, especially our lead actress. She kills it in this role, and I hope I wouldn't mind a whole sort of franchise out of this. I think they could do a lot more. So I'm down for it. They definitely kept it open for a potential sequel, I think. And I mean, this is a directorial debut from these dudes. They're two brothers, I believe, that did it. And man, I think they knocked it out of the park. And I can't wait to see what they do next. This is currently sitting as my number one horror movie of the year for me. I highly recommend it. For a year that's been pretty weak, I think, on new horror movies, I think this is definitely the standout so far.
Yeah, I echo a lot of that. When I first saw the trailer, I felt that it looked a little bland. It kind of gave me Truth or Dare vibes, but the movie is not that at all. It is genuinely scary, which I really like. You see like a good amount of the demon slash ghosts. There are some very surprising, gory moments in the film as well. It's got a great pace. Like I was never bored, and the movie kind of went along really quickly and the performances are amazing. Sophie Wilde, who's the star of this film, which hasn't done that much yet, is a contender for my favorite female performance of the year. I'm not sure yet. It's between two, so we'll see about that. But I do think this is one of the best horror films of 2023. It's not sitting on my number one right now. There's another one that I'm kind of like thinking it's kind of stay number one, but it's definitely a worthwhile film to check out. And if you're an A24 hater, and I know there's quite a few out there, like Joe said, this doesn't really feel all that A24. I mean, there are some elements of it for sure. It's dark, the atmosphere, the kind of score and everything is A24, but the story itself is not as like it's clear, it's not as ambiguous as it usually is. So I think it could be enjoyed by a wider audience than some of their other stuff. And yeah, I'd recommend it.
Cool.
And for a small independent horror movie, it's killing it in the theaters. I think it did 10 million its opening weekend, which is already like a lot more than its budget intended. So apparently the directors too are like big YouTubers. So that's kind of how they got their start. And yeah, they're killing it. I can't wait to see what they do next.
Sweet. All right, my first one is a 2022 indie called Beneath the Old Dark House, directed by Matt Cloud. And this one basically has the same kind of setup of a VHS movie. This villain called Coffin Tooth, he kidnaps this young lady and he puts her in a room surrounded by old CRT TV screens and then puts VHS tapes on them. And there's three movies in the anthology. And all three of them are pretty solid. Like you're gonna go into it and see traditional like indie problems, like couple sound design issues, some acting that's up and down. But for being an indie, man, like there's a really strong dedication to the set design. Like everything looks really spot on, really great. The sets are awesome. The lighting is great. The Coffin Tooth looks really dope. There's girls in there. All of them get in some kind of state of undress, and they all look good. So if you're into that, there you go. The gore at times is pretty good too. Is it anything that like if I watched it last year would it have made my top 10? No, but for an indie, it's super up there and probably better than the recent like VHS movies in my opinion. So that's Beneath the Old Dark Horse, Dark House, sorry, not Dark Horse. And this was another one that I fucking saw on Instagram and like the ad got me just like kill her goats, but the difference with this one though, kill her goats suck. Beneath the Old Dark House is pretty cool. So if you have an opportunity to see it, I think it's going to get option to be on like a Shudder or a Screambox or something once it comes on there. Check it out.
Cool. So my second one this week is a movie I watched over on Shudder, and it is a 2023 movie by the name of Huesera the Bone Woman. So I believe Joe had talked about this in the past. So I put it on my list and was interested to check it out. It's a Mexican film. It's about a couple who are looking to get pregnant, and they kind of do some religious voodoo to help with the pregnancy. And sure enough, she does get pregnant, and everything seems to be going well at first. But all of a sudden, she goes to her porch and she sees someone from the like apartments across the street, and there's this woman just kind of staring at her, and then she starts like breaking her neck and stuff and contorting in weird ways, and then she jumps off the balcony, and then she survives the fall, and in a weird like contorted way starts like screaming at her and stuff like that, which scares her. She goes to her husband, and of course there was actually nothing there. And more as she's going through her pregnancy, she starts seeing these bone cracking kind of creatures coming after her, and she's not sure why. There's also a lot of like postpartum depression type themes once she does have the baby, and it's a lot about her struggling with motherhood, her sexual identity. She's kind of having, she's with her husband, but she's also having kind of a lesbian affair with an old flame of hers. So there's a lot of kind of themes coming at you once, and there's also religion. I'm not quite sure what religion it is. It's some kind of Christian religion because they pray at the Virgin Mary statue at the beginning of the film. But yeah, so that's basically the gist of it. I think when this story is into the horror elements, it's fantastic. There are some really good scares in it, some good scary scenes. It's cool that they go into themes that aren't usually tackled in horror. They tackle those well. My only issue with it is it's kind of boring for all the in between. There are a lot of scenes that kind of go nowhere, and I was falling asleep, to be honest. And it's unfortunate because when it's good, it's great, but when it's not, it's just like a slug to get through. So I did enjoy it, and I think people will kind of lean towards one way or the other depending on how they feel. But so I do recommend it, but for me, it's like a 3 out of 5. So it wouldn't be on my top 10 of the year, but I do think it's a worthy watch. So that's Huesera, the Bone Woman, over on Shudder.
Alrighty. My last one is a film from 2000, currently on Tubi, if you want to check it out, called Python. It's got Robert Englund. It's got William Zabka from Karate Kid. It's got Casper Van Dien playing. Man, I love Casper, but his accent in this, I guess he's going for like Southerner / Louisiana almost, and it's just not. He's not pulling off. Casper, I love you, but this one did not do it for me.
You got to see Mad Heidi and see how that accent
so
is.
bad.
But Robert Englund plays this like stupid fuck doctor that like is created. Why do these movies like always think like the answer for like the next military breakthrough is like a giant snake? Like really, that's what we're going with, like,
or crocodile, or
or some kind of
whatever.
beast that can die from like a rocket or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, this python is getting transported over the like in a military transport plane, and then like some dipshit in the back like hears a noise. So like in their ultimate wisdom, they're like, break it open. We need to see what's in here. That's an order. And so he breaks it open, and the python comes and kills everyone in the plane, and then falls out of the sky and lands in like suburbia America, and then it starts going wild. There's a sheriff, there's a love triangle, there's an opening scene with lesbians that are nude, which is always acceptable, and then the snake comes and eats them. There's a lot of like corpses that are turned into skeletons with like little meats hanging off them because the I don't know if pythons really do this. I don't think they do, but it spits like venom at them and it like melts them, which I don't think is a real thing, but hey, who knows. The CGI is fucking god awful. It's so bad. The snake is supposed to be like big, but then for plot devices, it can squeeze through like a little door, kind of like Anaconda, where it goes up like 100-foot fucking tower at one point. It's a mess. It's awful. CGI is terrible. Robert Englund's stupid. Casper Van Dien's performance, unfortunately, is not that great. And there's a lot of family drama too mixed in. Like ultimately, this is a movie about a giant snake that's killing people. Let's just leave it at that. We don't need to know about the family's failing business. Now the brother wants to be this fucking mountain bike star. Oh, and there's like multiple scenes, way too many scenes. One's fine, but not like 7, where like the dude's riding his mountain bike and he's doing like close up like little spins and he's doing little bunny hops over things. I'm like, what? Just to get from like point A to point B in the plot. But instead of just cutting to that, we show him riding his bike to it, which is so goofy. Python, terrible. 1 out of 5, Tubi, and Amazon Prime.
Why do they always have to, in these like little movies, have to give an accent to actors that can't pull it off? It doesn't fucking improve the movie whatsoever. No one's gonna be like, that character should have been Southern. It's just so fucking stupid. I don't get it.
It doesn't mean anything to the plot either. He's like government guy, like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. And you think like the actor too, like a cast would be like, oh, I can't really maybe pull, like maybe if it, like for Mad Heidi, it sounds like they were going for goofy, right? But in this one, like that's my main problem, is they take it way too seriously. So it would seem like they wouldn't want something like this that's easily avoidable to affect their film. But no, they have, like you said, an actor doing a voice that he cannot pull off at all. So it's unfortunate, because I love Casper Van Dien, but man, he's got
yeah. I mean, in Mad Heidi, he's the president of Switzerland, so it makes sense that he needs to be somewhat Swiss, But in movies like that, there's no fucking point to change the accent. It's just, but you see it a lot. Like a lot of these indie movies have these really terrible accents, and you're just like, that it adds nothing to the movie. Why? I wonder if that's in their contract. They go to the studio and like, I'll do this movie, but I need to be a German. And I need to have 2 dogs.
My range.
Yeah.
I need it for my reel.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Trivia?
Well, those points. All right. Quarter number 3 is in full swing. We have myself leading with 8 points. Steve, second place, 7 points. Joe, 5 points. Who would like to lead off today?
I'll go.
Oh.
Just because I have him up. So.
Ooh.
All right. First one is, as I like to do, Guess the movie based off the IMDb parental guide. But, plot twist, I'm not going to start with sex and nudity because it is the biggest giveaway, so I'm probably going to do it last.
Oh,
Okay.
So we're going to start with violence and gore. A man holds his wife and 2 children hostage at gunpoint. He calls the sheriff and a psychologist. Police and emergency personnel arrive. He yells through the front window that he and his family will never have to see them again. He fires 3 shots out of the front window, shoots his wife in the head. She falls, and soon shoots both of the children, pointing the gun off screen.
Brutal.
sounds disturbing.
It is. Profanity. Name calling. Faker, jerk, insane, not right in the head, rat study, ridiculous, and offensive.
None of which are curses.
No, I don't. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking. A woman says that the FBI investigated missing persons in Alaska and came to no conclusions and writes it off to alcohol use. Okay, the next 2 are the ones that are going to start giving it away. Frightening and intense scenes. The entire film is meant to trick your mind into believing that it's an actual documentary and will frighten viewers.
Oh. What's the name of that?
You guys ready for the last one?
Yep.
Yes.
Sex and nudity. What have you all been waiting for? In
Yes,
one
please.
brief scene, a nude woman is examined by unseen aliens. We see her sitting on an examining table from the bare shoulders and neck up, and a drill seems to penetrate her as she screams.
I know. I just can't place it. I got the cover in my mind. I know who the actress is too. I don't want to give it to Joe.
I think you do, but I need the name.
I know. Is that it?
That's it.
Have I seen this movie?
I don't know.
It's
Have
found
you?
footage style, so
Is it called the Fifth Dimension?
wrong. Right
The
track.
Fourth Kind?
That's correct.
Damn
The
it!
fourth
All
kind.
right.
Thief, you fucking thief.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
You're close. You were in the right
Yeah.
mindset, but
Damn it, Mila.
Have you seen it, Joe?
I have. It's been a minute.
yeah, Mila
but-
Jovovich is the,
yeah.
the
Yeah,
one.
Shoot.
yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. And she like opens the movie with like, "This is real. This really happened."
Yeah. But we know you're an actress. All right, go ahead, Joe.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna name you 3 characters and the tagline.
Oh,
See if you can guess the movie. Okay, tagline. It's not like they didn't warn us. Characters. Ray Reddy, Officer Paskey, and Graham Hess.
Graham Hess seems familiar. I'm gonna go Mars Attacks.
Incorrect.
The stuff.
Incorrect. I left out 2 of the other big members of the Hess family because it'd probably give it away, and that is Merrill Hess and Bo Hess from the movie Signs.
Okay. I wouldn't guess that anyway. I don't
All right.
remember the Hess.
What was the tagline for that? They tried to warn us.
It's not like they didn't try. It's not like they didn't warn us.
How does that apply?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean,
Yeah. I don't remember them warning anyone. Like,
Yeah, shoot. The alien's like, all right, we're coming.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
told
they
you.
did. I mean, did they warn us with their crop circles? I don't really know. But
Oh, I guess so, right?
yeah.
All right, tagline. This one's from the buddy TJ. Nice planet. We'll take it.
Killer Clowns.
Incorrect.
They live?
Incorrect. Correct answer is Mars Attacks.
Ah, goddamn it.
It's
Oh,
not
just
strictly
said.
horror, but it's theme.
All right, Jason.
Yeah,
Did you see the? I think
did.
Spirit,
Looks
the
so cool, dude.
full size
It's
Mars
so
Attacks
fucking
alien.
cool, eh?
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really cool.
I
$400
want it.
though. Yeah.
All
That
right.
was dope.
It is dope. It doesn't say ack though.
Right. Guess the movie by the supporting cast.
Okay.
Roger Jackson, Jack Black, Pam Grier,
Mars Attacks.
yes,
Yeah. Wow. Another Mars Attacks.
Yeah, then I had
Mars
Natalie
Attacks all
Portman,
over
Tom
tonight.
Jones, Danny DeVito, Martin Short, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Michael J. Fox.
That's
Nice.
Supporting cast.
All right. All right. Next one. What is the name of the famed sitcom Jupe starred in as a child in the
Christ.
famous alien movie Nope?
Oh my god.
What was it? Sorry, Jupe.
What is the name of the famed sitcom Jupe starred in as a child in
Gordy's
Nope?
house.
Incorrect.
It's the Gordy Show. I don't know.
Incorrect. Todd, you were very close, and maybe we
Gordy's
could throw
Home?
it. Gordy's Home is correct.
Yeah, the house I would have
Okay.
taken.
Thank you, Steve.
I was ready to take it.
Yeah.
Not exact. It was.
I think that's the best scene is when Steven Yeun is
Oh, I love that. scene.
recapping in his little museum.
Yeah.
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 It's definitely one of the highlights.
Okay, I got some Blu-rays here.
Nice.
All right. Number 1, the townsfolk of a rural community are dying in strange and gruesome circumstances. Following the trail of horrifically mutilated cadavers, resident health inspector Mike Brady
30
is on
Days
the-
of Night.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
Resident health inspector Mike Brady is on the case to piece together the mystery. He soon comes to a terrifying conclusion. Giant blank are breeding in the sewers below, and they're making a meal of the locals.
Is it
I think I know it now.
oh my god, I have the cover in my in my mind, but I don't remember. Oh shit.
Shout out Mike Brady. Brady Bunch.
Yeah. It's not Chud, is it?
Incorrect. Opportunity is still, and then Steve
That would
Yeun.
be my guess too.
Oh. The answer is this? No, you don't have the. It's slugs.
Oh, God.
Slugs.
I didn't see that. I've never seen that one. Is it
Oh,
good?
really? It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Last one. Guess the movie by the IMDb Did You Know section.
Okay.
First one is trivia. Much more of the autopsy scene was filmed than ended up in the final film. A rough cut of the scene originally contained so much gore that it even made crew members who had worked on it sick to their stomach. Quotes. In an insane world, a sane man must appear insane. Goofs. Miscellaneous. The prisoner named Vincent is an enigma. He is not present in any scenes before his death scene and seems just to appear out of nowhere.
Wait.
Okay, there's two more. Yeah. Crazy credits. The 20th Century Fox fanfare that plays during the opening studio logo segues ominously into the score of the film. And soundtrack. In the year 2525, Exordium and Terminus, written by Rick Evans.
Oh, I
Hmm.
have no idea. My initial guess was Identity, so I'll throw Identity out there.
Wrong. You want to guess, Joe?
I'm guessing it's something alien themed. I got nothing though. Prometheus.
Wrong. I'll give you guys a hint. It is a sequel to, an alien
To what?
type film.
Autopsy scene. Shoot.
Autopsy 2525, 20th Century Fox.
I'm gonna go Alien 3.
Correct.
Yes.
Nice.
I don't
The clues were in there,
remember
but
any of it.
Yeah, I was gonna guess an alien movie too, but not 3. So
It's been quite a while. I think I need to revisit that because that's gets
David
like
Fincher.
hate. Yeah.
his dark mark on his career apparently.
All right. Do you guys want another Blu-ray or do you want a traditional?
Oh, Blu-ray is good. I like those.
Okay. A family's road trip takes a dangerous turn when they arrive at a secluded mobile home park to stay with relatives and find it mysteriously deserted.
The Strangers Pray at Night.
Correct.
Nice.
Thank you.
Got it.
Shout out Damien
Damien.
McVeigh, who just did a screening at the pool.
Oh, they
the
did that
other
again?
day.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
with the full
Yeah.
cast. Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
He's been teasing a movie. Is this Dark Circles finally?
I don't know. I haven't
He
seen
showed a
anything.
screenshot of the movie, but it's just Damien,
Oh.
so it's tough to like discern
Interesting.
what exactly.
Your debut.
It's supposed
Hopefully.
to be coming out. I mean, it's
Yeah,
supposed to be coming out soon.
It's been saying coming out soon for like a year or so.
Right. I'll have to shoot him a message and see.
I hope we
Um,
see you a lot, but that'd be so funny if we saw just like
You're not gonna
Yeah,
see
yeah,
me
the
a
whole-
lot.
ear.
You see part of his
Yeah.
beard.
Yeah.
That's Joe's beard.
You'll see me for like 15 seconds at
Heck
the most,
yeah.
probably. But
Oh,
you'll,
that's
oh,
15
you'll 100
seconds a lot.
That's a lot.
You'll-
Yeah.
you'll 100% see me because I'm directly behind Damien in like the diner
They
scene,
blur
and it's
the
a long.
background.
Yeah, this might be like a Mike Wazowski
Yeah,
situation. You know,
right.
like Damien's
No,
head's gonna like just block him, like perfectly.
100%. I mean, I should definitely be on there.
Joe in the background
at
like
some
this trying to
point.
screen time.
Trying to peek in. Yeah.
It's a long scene. It's like it's like 5 or 7 minute dialogue scene. I mean, we'll see what they actually edited
Right.
into, but
Cool.
we'll see. I think it was an important scene in the movie too. So,
Mhm.
all right,
Right.
3.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
got one
is it
more.
mine?
Oh,
Oh, you do. Okay. Yes.
Oh,
Three
okay.
three letterboxed reviews. Name the movie. Yes, it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets Scream, but I love it. Number 2. Maybe the least Robert Rodriguez movie in his film catalog.
Oh,
I
I had a guess, but that
should
it
be
wasn't
like-
Robert
that should be
Rodriguez.
the big one.
And number 3. This has to be one of the most underrated horror high school outcast coming of age sci-fi gems to
Is
come
it
out of the
disturbing
90s.
behaviors?
Incorrect.
Can you repeat those 3 again for me?
Sure.
Sorry.
Sure. All right. Yes, it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets Scream, but I love it. Maybe the least Robert Rodriguez movie in his film catalog. And number 3, this has to be one of the most underrated horror high school outcast coming of age sci-fi gems to come out of the 90s.
Man, dude, I have no freaking clue.
Sci-fi gem.
Is it The Faculty?
It is The Faculty.
Is it? I didn't know he did that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it.
That was my
Wow.
next guess, but I had no idea he did that.
Yep.
He directed that one or just wrote it?
Directed it.
Huh.
I would say
Okay.
Spy Kids is his least.
I was
Robert
thinking Spy
Rodriguez
Kids.
thing.
Yeah, so I'm
Right.
like, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah.
Alright. Oh shoot. I got 2 really lucky guesses today. Is that it?
That is it.
All right. So big night for me. You got 4, Steve 0, Joe 2, which brings us to 12 for quarter number 3. Me and the lead with 12. Steve and Joe tied at 7 apiece. For your quarter number 3 trivia. Let's go. All right. Fire in the sky.
Before we start Fire in the Sky, can we just acknowledge the fact that right after we announced that this was the next movie we were reviewing, in Congress, they admitted that they are in possession of humanoid-like creatures that were piloting spacecrafts. Like, what? And it's not news at all. Like, no one gives a shit. It's the weirdest fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world we live in.
Well, I don't think anyone will ever believe it until there's actual videos or photos.
even then,
and even then, people will question it. But just because someone
Where do you
says
guys
something,
stand? Where do you guys stand on it?
I think they 100% have something. You know, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. So whether I do. I think they definitely have some sort of alien life creatures, like in some sort of kind of like think like Independence Day. They have them in those fucking like tubes, just kind of like hanging out,
No.
chilling. You know.
peace.
Yeah. I think they're there for sure, and they definitely have wreckage recovered. I mean, it's just like there's been plane crashes in our in our world. I'm sure aliens have been passing through and crashed. I think they're probably mostly tourists, or maybe explore or
Like rich
astronauts,
kids?
or like
Maybe leapers.
astronauts, like astronauts, explorers. They like are sent out to try to see what's out there, and a couple of them have crashed along the way, and I think we've recovered it.
Yeah, well, we'll get to some more alien questions during our question period after the review, but I'm just flabbergasted that this wasn't news. Like, no one gave a shit. It's the weirdest thing. Like, people are like, sure, we got aliens, but what's 90 Day Fiance going on through right now? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, hello, did you not hear? You just talked about aliens, but anyway, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise. Like, I think most people already know, right, or knew
Yeah.
that there are aliens out there. So it's just like, oh, them confirming, and it's like, yeah, we already know.
All right.
We're gonna get into this later though, because I got a lot.
Yeah. Well, we'll get
All right.
with the questions, I think.
Okay, so Fire in the Sky from '93, directed by Rob Lieberman. Alien abduction, November 5th, 1975, White Mountains, northeastern Arizona, based on the true story. A group of men who are clearing brush for the government arrive back in town, claiming that their friend was abducted by aliens. Nobody believes them, and despite a lack of motive and no evidence of foul play, their friend's disappearance is treated as murder. So, not exactly true. These guys are a logging crew, and they're out in the wilderness and they're doing their thing. We learn about them like they're kind of down on their luck, not making a lot of money, but they're honest guys and doing their thing. They're getting off the job site one night and they see the bright red light in the forest. One of the gentlemen who's best buddies with the foreman also is going to marry his sister, I believe. He gets out of the truck and he's like, I gotta fucking go closer. I gotta see it. And the guys are yelling at him, get back in the fucking truck, blah blah blah. And he gets hit with a beam of light that knocks him out. The guys in the truck think he's dead, so they freak out and they storm off, right? And they collect their wits a little bit and they go back to the site and they do not find his body. So they think they don't know what happened. They go back to town. They call the sheriff, who calls like a big lead detective over or whatever to talk to the guys and like, hey, tell me your fucking story again. And that's when we learn. That's when they walk them through it again. And the lead sheriff immediately says like, nah, you guys fucking murdered him, because one of their guys on the crew is he's an outcast, he's a bad boy, he's got no respect for the law, and he has his attitude the entire time, and it's known that he had beef with the guy that went missing, so they pounce on that. And we just go through the whole movie basically until about the last 20 minutes or so is going through them trying to clear their name, the townspeople side-eyeing them, not trusting, things like that, going through a lie detector to tell their story, which all matches up. And until finally we see, I believe his name is Mike, right? No, Mike's the main guy.
Travis.
Yeah, Travis is the one. He calls Mike on the phone, who's played by Robert Patrick, and he's like, come pick me up or whatever. And then they find him, and he tells a story about being abducted by aliens. So I watched this one when I was a kid on tape, and it scared the living shit out of me. I think it has one of the best abduction scenes, UFO, whatever you want to call it, of all time. I think it's still very effective today. Some of the movie didn't age well, in my opinion, but I still think it's a solid film. Last time I watched it was maybe about 10 plus years ago, and I still thought it was super scary, and I still think it stands up in that aspect today. And what do you guys think?
Yeah, so I wasn't even sure if I had seen this, but after watching it, like the abduction scene like 100% stuck in my brain, and I was like, I definitely have seen this. I didn't remember any of the other movie though, so it was pretty fresh overall. And yeah, I mean, overall, I think there's like really good performances here. I mean, Robert Patrick, I think is great. Him and Travis, there played by DB Sweeney. The two of them together have like really good chemistry and whatnot. I think the whole kind of cast of loggers there all are really good. And James Garner as sort of the lead detective is also really good in this. I think like this movie is the best with like when the alien stuff is happening. I do think it like the town stuff is all like really interesting, but I feel like it does drag on a bit too long. I think this movie definitely could have been cut a little shorter. I mean, it's almost 2 hours long. I think we could have been an hour and a half and we would have been fine kind of cutting out some of the town hysteria stuff. It was like, okay, after a while, it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like the town thinks they murdered them and stuff like that. It was kind of rehashing the same things over and over again. But overall, I think it is really good. Yeah, I agree with Todd. It's some of the stuff hasn't aged as well for a 90s movie, but the alien abduction scene is really great and still super effective. The aliens look awesome, I think, too, for a movie that came out, in, the early 90s. They still are really like creepy looking, and the makeup on them or whatever. If they're puppets, I'm not really sure if it's like little people in sort of makeup or if it's puppetry or whatever, but whatever it is, they did a killer job on that. The whole like, scene it's like 20 minutes long. Like I think that alien abduction scene, and it's so cool. It's so interesting, like sort of everything going on in the ship. It's awesome. I do wish we got a little more of the beginning abduction though, when he's actually, kind of beamed up there. I think it happens a little too fast. And I think they could have harped on that a little longer because it was really interesting. But yeah, overall, like really solid movie. And I'm glad I rewatched it.
So this was a first time watch for me. In fact, I don't even think I've ever even heard of this movie until Todd started mentioning it. He's mentioned it before in previous episodes, but it's just one, I guess, flew completely off my radar. So fresh watch, and I gotta say, it's like I enjoyed it somewhat. I think a lot of what Joe said resonates the same way with me. The alien stuff was really cool. I really enjoyed it when they were doing all that stuff, but it takes so long to get there that I was already kind of checked out. Then finally they hit us with this great kind of last 15-20 minutes, but it also ends really abruptly, and that was kind of jarring to me as well. There are great performances though. I mean, Robert Patrick is just good in everything. He's always a delight. Same with DB Sweeney. DB Sweeney is one of those actors that I don't know why he never became like a big deal. You see him a lot in movies at that era, and he's such a good actor, but he's like relegated to like Swamp Sharks now and stuff like that. So it's kind of disappointing, but he's a great actor as well. There are some clever things they do in this film that I liked. Right at the beginning, you have cops going like just driving down a dark road, and all of a sudden you see like 3 big lights like come down on the car and everything, and it looks like the car is either going to be abducted or there's going to be a spaceship, but it's actually just the lights from the train. But the way it was filmed made it look like it was the beginning of the alien story. There were some great shots. The use of color when the aliens kind of get him the first time was awesome, but they just don't spend enough time with the alien stuff, and they spend too much time on the little town politics, which was kind of boring. And that's where I think the film falls a little bit. And I agree with Joe. It was too long. It's just, we did not need it to be this long. So still a good film, but not like one of my favorites.
Shout out to a couple of the other loggers in the movie. Bradley Gregg, who you might know as Philip from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. Of course, the infamous sort of puppetry vein scene. And also Henry Thomas, young Henry Thomas, who was in The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, and of course
Plays Jack Torrance.
played Jack Torrance
Yeah.
in Dr. Sleep. So yeah, a lot of little horror elements in this one.
Yeah, it's got a stellar cast, and tell me
Yeah,
that
it really
that's
does.
not fucking frightening. Like the wax rubber,
Yeah, the
I
condom.
don't know,
call
film,
it.
the human body condom
Yeah.
sucks into his mouth, and they're just torturing the poor guy. But yeah, I agree. It would have been cool because it seems like he was just left to decompose or just die in whatever like alien little hidey hole they had him in, and then he broke out, and then they decided to fuck with him. So I don't know, maybe they just weren't getting into him yet, but that fucking guy Dallas is a fucking asshole, man. Like Robert Patrick should have thrown his ass off the job site like multiple times. He's fucking around, he's falling a tree and it almost hits the guy, and he's like, timber afterwards, and then he puts a fucking running saw blade into his mouth or like into his face, like, where's OSHA? Let's get rid of this fucking asshole. But we've touched upon it numerous times in the show, and I love how Henry Thomas is reading the Bat Boy kind of tabloid with the little alien things. I know we've all
Love
said
it.
how we missed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice when they went to go pick up Dallas, he's like at like a random with like a Hispanic people, and there's like a lady just standing there in a towel? Did you guys see that?
I don't remember that at all.
Okay, maybe it was a ghost, like 3 Men and a Baby or something, but she's like standing off in the corner just wearing a towel. I'm like, is that a prostitute? Is this, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of weird.
How'd you guys feel about the friendships here? So when they find, and I'm sorry, I forget their character names, but DB Sweeney's character for the first time after the abduction, he's like naked and he's scared and he's like obviously struggling. They call the alien guys first.
Call the
They
nerds.
don't call
Yeah.
the fucking the ambulance. Or, no, they
Ghostbusters.
don't give a shit. He's fine. Like,
He's almost dying from dehydration. And they're
Right,
like,
like-
can we interview you?
exactly. It's so weird. Like,
Call the X-Files.
yeah, but I
That's
mean, I
what-
guess it makes sense. I mean, they left their fucking friend the first time, so
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. I mean, if people who don't know, this is actually based on a true story, how actually true of the facts we're getting here. But this did really happen, this story in the 70s. But I mean, it makes sense because like they didn't trust the cops. Like the cops were accusing these guys of murder. So it's like
That's true.
calling,
Good point.
them. They're probably like, fuck the cops. Like let's call these alien guys. Because like at one point earlier in the movie, Robert Patrick's character meets sort of this guy who is like, I believe you. Like, I think, your friend did get abducted or whatever. And, he gives him his card or whatever. And he's the first one he calls. and they try to do interviews with them and stuff. So yeah, I mean, in that situation, what would I do? Like, it's maybe I would have done the same thing, because like, fuck the cops, man. They think we murdered this guy. They're literally don't believe our story, which we can get into it. Would you believe their story? You know what I mean? I mean, I personally might, but it's a really hard story to believe, obviously, and law enforcement is not going to believe you in this situation when a guy goes fucking missing in your crew. So yeah, I mean, I'm down with it. Like, for this story, I'm like, yeah, like, fuck the cops. Let's call these guys, and maybe they can try to get some proof that he was actually abducted.
But like, so if you look at the cop angle, so you're accused of murder, and you find the guy that you supposedly murdered. Shouldn't you be calling the cops? Be like, dude, here's my guy that I obviously did not fucking.
We didn't murder him.
So I don't know.
Tell him, Travis.
I think it's it is a weird scene for me.
Yeah. Okay. I see both your points there. And to answer your question, I wouldn't believe him, Joe. I would be like, no, you guys, he had an accidental death at the least, and you guys are covering it up. But you know what bothered me though is like these guys are best friends, Mike and Travis, and then like he's missing for 5 days. He's almost fucking dead. Everyone thought he was dead, and then he throws a hissy fit in the hospital because Travis isn't up. Like, Travis is fucking traumatized. He's sick, and then they have a little argument, and then he fucking doesn't talk to him for like 2 years. I'm like, what? But then what's weird to me too is that he names his fucking kid after his friend that they're estranged from. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't. That's the problem. Out of everything in this film, that's the problem I have with is like he named his kid after his friend that they're not talking to each other, and he blames for him leaving, like at the alien side or whatever. I'm like, you named your kid after him? That's fucking strange, man. I don't know.
Man, well, so like it harps back on like the very beginning of this movie. Like I am not fucking just taking off in a bin my friend. Aliens or not, if I see him get like beamed like that and fucking thrown, he hasn't been fucking sucked up into the air yet. I'm getting out of my truck and I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I would check to make sure you're alive. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't just be taken off. I mean, maybe in that, I don't know. It's tough to say in that situation. Like, maybe I would have been so fucking scared I would have took off. So I can understand it, but I don't know. Me personally, like, when I was younger, my buddy, like, he was getting sucked in like by these like massive swells. We were fucking young and dumb, and we were like in the ocean, and he was getting like fucking sucked into the fucking ocean, and I just like on pure instinct just went after him. They would call me the would-be rescuer, but I actually was able to fucking grab him and do it. So I think just pure reactionary, I'm getting out of the truck and checking on supposedly my best friend, or the guy that my brother-in-law essentially. I mean, he was like basically almost engaged to this guy's sister at the time.
I agree, and I think that's a lot of people had the fight or flight thing, and I find it hard to believe that all 5 of them had the flight, especially like with the points you just made too. I made a note too, like I'm fighting every fucking alien on that ship. Like they're like 3 feet, like get up, Travis. You got that country boy strength. You're cutting fucking trees down. Let's throw some haymakers at these little bastards. But how do you get off the ship? The aliens were just like, all right, fuck off.
Yeah, that was another. The whole ending was very abrupt to me. It's like they had all these great ideas up to inside the ship, and then they're like, oh, we don't know how to end this. So he's out. He gets out. He's estranged for 2 years, and then the end. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like the aliens got what they want out of him, like, and saw he wasn't being cooperative, so they did their fucking little tests on him or whatever. And then when he fucking tried to, he grabbed like a scalpel, right? And he like was threatening them, and then they were like, just fucking get rid of him or whatever. Yeah, and so they,
chill.
I guess they just knocked him out, and then was like, we'll just leave him back down there. But I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Supposedly, there's very like hot debate about whether this was like a hoax or not. My question is like, why would they? I mean, I guess like, yeah, this guy went and wrote a book after, but it ruined like the other dudes' lives. So like, why would they be in agreement on this? Unless like Travis, maybe did it on his own to try to make, I don't know, like, because Robert Patrick literally, it's told Robert Patrick's character, as it says at the end of this movie, like he got divorced, he had a wife and 2 kids, like he basically became estranged from them. The other dudes, I'm not really sure what happened with them. I don't know if you guys know really, but for the most part, this really like fucking ruined these guys' lives.
I mean, according to everything I looked at, they never failed a lie detector test, right? I mean, the one guy was inconclusive, but he was being a dick. And yeah, I've taken one before. I know Steve has. Joe, have you taken lie detector? I mean, they ask you some fucking weird ass shit on those things. So I know people can beat them, but do I think these people can? I doubt it. But yeah, what is, you always got to ask, like, what is the end game? Like, attention or money? Like, this guy's not a millionaire, and he goes to like UFO conventions and shit and talks about his experience. But as far as that goes, that's not like life changing fucking buying Ferraris money. You know what I mean? So it's like, what is the purpose? Plus, if he acted upon himself, then the four guys in the truck still needed to verify that they saw him get hit with like something, right? So I know the true story, quote unquote, from him is that like it wasn't nothing crazy experimentation on him, right? He was abducted and then he saw like humanoid people in like spacesuits or something, and they were kind of nice to him. But then, like you said, Joe, earlier, well, you can say it. What happened to them? Like why they changed it?
Yeah, so like yeah, in his book, he kind of described this whole story. Yeah, it was people. Well, originally he did so the aliens that are kind of portrayed in the movie are similar in a way to the ones he did see, but then he said that essentially like they he kind of like fought them off or whatever. He kind of threatened them, and then they took him away, and then like these humans in spacesuits like escorted him out or whatever. Basically everything you see in the movie though didn't happen up in the ship. The writer, the director, or the producers of this movie thought his story was too boring, so obviously they had to Hollywood it up for this movie. So he wasn't in a fucking pod or anything, and he wasn't floating in the air and shit like that. So yeah, I mean his story is actually pretty brief if you do see it, but he disliked this adaptation so much, the real Travis, that he went out and he wrote like I think he wrote another book after this called I think Fire in the Sky: The True Story or something, where he gives his real account.
Wild story. You guys wanted to get into questions before we continue on? So you can ask us questions on social media at the Horror Squad Podcast or on our Discord, where there is a lot of alien talk right now because of this episode. So the first question is from Asa, rating Blood 16. If aliens came to Earth and offered you a chance to travel the universe, would you take it knowing you can never return?
No, I don't think I would. Like it's interesting enough, but yeah, I don't think I would just miss my family and
McDonald's and
friends and
stuff.
stuff too much. Yeah. And that, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like being, I guess, an astronaut, right? Like some people go up into space for 6 or 7 years or whatever and don't see their families and stuff. It's just not. It's interesting. It's an interesting idea. I mean, think like Interstellar, right? Where they're fucking, he
Love
was
that
up there
movie.
for like 20 or 30 years, and he saw his family grow up without him and stuff. So it's sad. So I just don't think. I think if I was a loner and I had like no one, really with like down here, I probably would take it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If I wouldn't want to leave my family, my kids, and everything. But if 15 years ago, sign me up. Aliens, I'll be like Star Lord in fucking Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I don't know, because for me, it'd probably be no. And the reason is a lot of the stuff I love is all human stuff. Like I love watching movies. I love going to theme parks. I like doing all
You also
video
have the
games.
three-breasted alien from Total
Yeah.
Recall, Steve.
Sure,
So.
but it's a risk. That three-breasted alien can have a pimple face. Like I don't know. Who knows what aliens look like? So I don't think it's worth the risk. And if I can't tell anyone, what's the point? Like it's just I get to see it and then just die. I don't know. It's
Right.
You're just a cool
Right.
alien to them.
And like, what if
Right.
the aliens like pick you up and they're like, "Oh shit, we didn't calculate like a human, and your fucking head explodes while you
Yeah,
get
sure.
like you deep into the atmosphere or something."
Mhm. No, exactly. What if he can bring like 5 people? Would you be more tempted?
No.
I would just be scared more of the risks. Like, what
Right.
are these like, you know what I mean? Like, do these aliens really know what the fuck they're doing? Like,
What if it's just like drunk college kids and they're picking up like to us like an Amish person, and we're like
Right.
sheltered like an Amish person just does. You know what I mean? We're just fucking trying to corrupt us. Like, could be some frat bros from some Nebula, dude. I don't know.
It
I
could
don't
be.
trust those
Yeah.
fuckers.
It could be.
Now, if it's
Frat Bros in
now,
space. That's a movie right there.
hey, to be original. But if it's like, what's it called? Fucking First count is the third kind or something like that.
Third again. Yeah.
Third counters, you know what I mean?
Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there you go.
kind. Yeah.
Like they have like military people ready, and then they like do a trade, like U.S. whatever. I don't know. It's different. Do you think it happens? Like,
No, I don't think it happens right now, but
What do you-
I think
what
it
do you-
would
what-
happen.
okay, I'm gonna
It
table
could have
this
happened.
question for later.
Could have happened.
Once we get to the questions, I got
We
questions.
wouldn't know.
All right. We still got a few from our listeners, and then we
Okay.
can ask our own little alien questions. Next one is from Joseph. What would y'all do if Joe got abducted, just like in the film? Run or try to help before they take him? Let's be honest. If anyone is getting abducted, it's going to be Joe.
I'm helping.
Thank you.
Of course, I'm helping. Like, yeah.
Fuck
Do you
'em.
think? Do you think Joe's the most likely to get abducted out of all of us?
Probably if he's drinking.
Yeah, man, I'd get out of the truck. I'd be like, whoa, what the
Whoa,
fuck
he's
is
like a
that,
bug.
man?"
He's like a bug walking into a light. Whoa, come on over, man.
Yeah. All right. Next question is from Kayla. Do you believe in alien life forms, and how do they look to you? Would they actually come to us, and why?
Steep question.
Alf.
Alf, you like eats cats?
Alien life form, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I 100% believe in aliens. I mean, I personally, I think it's foolish to think we're the only living beings in the entire universe. I mean, it's infinite, you know, it fucking goes on forever. So there's got to be something else out there. You know, there could be another planet just like ours out there where there's a whole nother sort of living society. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I think absolutely there's definitely living beings somewhere else out there.
I agree. I think there has to be, just based on probability, you know, it's like X amount of stars that mimic our sun and X amount of planets that can be in that Goldilocks zone that, you know, the scientists call it with perfect whatever. If it happened here on Earth, it has to happen somewhere else. And like, depending on what, you know, theory you believe in with creation, it's like, if say the Big Bang happened X amount of stars away, you know what I mean? Then that they have a jump start of their civilization compared to us. So like they could be crazy millions of years in the future technology wise. But it's like part of me is why the trouble just to fuck with us? But then like if you read like science fiction novels and things like that aren't like just shoot 'em up and stuff like that, it's like, is it like a all-knowing beings or whatever that are trying to help planet Earth, you know, and they don't want to fucking scare us because we know we're stupid and we'll panic like we do with everything that happens, big and small. So that like the government things, well, I mean, trust the government as far as you want, you know what I mean? But like what you have to ask yourself again, like what does he get out of it? What does the government get out of it by saying this stuff? They don't tell us shit. They don't tell us anything about anything ever. We just fucking pay taxes and call it a day. So what is the point in telling us that they have non-human biological bodies? Like why? And then
Right.
crash crafts when they don't even tell us who fucking killed JFK. Why would they have to tell us about aliens that are potentially, if they're coming to this planet, they could kick our ass. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like that would open up a whole fucking massive fear. And then also, I know you want to talk to it, but 1 second, like if it's one of those theories where like these aliens like created life on Earth, that's gonna fucking implode religion, you know? So of course, like you got to be careful with one, people being afraid of something that can kick our ass because they can travel the stars and we can't, so they're gonna beat the shit out of us. Or two, like they had a hand in creating life, like essentially like replaces the God theory. Then like that's a whole nother, like how many people, there's wars every fucking year about religion and God and who you believe in. Imagine if aliens said no, that doesn't fucking make any sense. Like that would, I don't know, it'd be crazy to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, you made a great point, Todd. It's like, why is the government now releasing all of this alien stuff? You know, I mean, they declassified those, you know, I mean, they're calling them UAPs now, right? Like instead of UFOs. Like, why are they doing that? Why are they releasing videos of supposed UFOs that our military has seen? And now they do this whole summit. It's very bizarre and it's very weird. It's like, why now? Why are they doing it now? And I think that's why it's not as big of a news, I think, because people are weary of what is really going on behind the surface there. Because I think most people don't trust the government, or
Yeah, for
they,
sure.
they don't give, I think there's a lot of shady shit going on. Like Todd said, I mean, they once again re-fucking classified the JFK files, which were supposed to get released. It's like, what are they trying to cover up there? And
Yeah.
it's like, what are they trying to cover up now with aliens? And why are they just giving us these little tidbits of information? So yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm not like a massive conspiracy theorist or anything like that, or like a crazy, but like I think for you to 100% trust your government is
No. And
foolish.
I was like a member of our government, so to speak, as a soldier, you know what I mean? And I know Steve has got more experience with that stuff, but it's like you have to have a healthy skepticism. But it's like coming back to that point again, it's like if Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK, why is that classified? You know what I mean? More information about that? Like that's your story. So what's exactly classified? That our government helped them, that the Russians helped them, we didn't go to war over it. Like, what was the deal? So that's fucking weird. But then like, what is their end game? Like, why? It's just like why? Because they don't have to tell us shit, and we would never know. And also too, especially now with all the deep fake bullshit that's like crazy good. Like Hollywood does it, and you have YouTubers that make Tom Cruise fucking videos that look exactly like him. Like you can easily say, "Oh, well, you can't trust this shit because everyone has this technology now. So why release it? Why say anything? Why have one of the most respected U.S. presidents in Obama? Like whatever you say about politics, like he's one of the most respected politicians. Come out and say that these things he's been briefed on them and they're true. Like what the fuck? Why? Like, are they soft? Is it like a soft reveal so we don't fucking panic? I don't know, man.
One other thing, I mean, since you mentioned the president, and I'm sorry, Steve, I know you want to talk, but like the other thing I've always thought interesting, like say what you will about Trump, but I feel like if he knew about alien stuff and was briefed on it, you don't think he would be fucking out there like fully talking about this? Because that dude has no filter whatsoever.
I
So I
told
feel
the
like
aliens
he
I
would,
gave them the
right?
best
Yeah,
deal.
right, yeah. So you think he?
They're
I mean,
not
that
raping
dude.
us.
That dude tells like he does, he has no filter. So I just feel like if he found something out, like he would have fucking made like some comments on
I
this
think
by
it's
now.
need to
But
know though, man. Like the Independence Day movie.
you
I
think
know
it's
it's a
like we'll
film.
shoot you, we'll fucking kill you type thing?
I think it's I don't know, like Independence Day, the movie makes a good point where it's like Bill Pullman didn't know about aliens. Like, well, you're a
Right.
fucking government official. Well, I mean, we obviously don't have the answers. It's just a lot of like, what is going on? But imagine this, though. Sorry, Steve. Imagine if like it's all true, right? Like people get abducted and experimented on. Imagine how fucked up that is, that our government is powerless to do anything about it. You know what I mean? And we just shot down like what, 5 things that they didn't explain what it was, except for one of them being a Chinese spy thing. But we shot down the other ones. They didn't say anything about that. And then months later, they're like, "Yeah, we have fucking non-human bodies." It's like, what? I don't know, man. It's nuts. Steve,
Yeah, it's
he's
an
like, "You guys
interesting
are
time.
full of shit. Get out of here." Are you skeptical, Steve? You look like skeptical on
Skeptical about what, aliens?
it. Everything going on with
So
the reveal, everything.
there,
Where do
there's
you
one
stand
thing.
on life? Where do you stand on life outside the universe? Or
I
our planet?
100%. Like Joe said, it's foolish to think that we are the only people alive in this vast universe. It's just not. It's almost impossible, that we are. In fact, what I was thinking about, which is completely on a whole other tangent that you guys were on, is her specific question: what do they look like to you? I wonder if they look human, because so I'm agnostic. I don't believe in any specific religion. So I believe in evolution. And our like humans have, through what I believe, have basically through evolution we now look like this because we've adapted to society. We the way that we can handle things with our hands, the way that we could walk and run and breathe and everything like that. And I wonder if what we look like is the optimal like way an alien would also look like, because through their evolution they'd also get kind of the same conclusion. So they can be humanoid, not necessarily exactly like us, because their atmosphere might make them change a bit so they could have gills. They adapt to their, whatever it's
Higher
CO2
gravity.
or whatever it is that they're dealing with on their planet. But I wonder if humanoid is like the default for intelligent life in other planets. So I'm curious if they would look similar to us, not necessarily exactly like us, but similar to us. Just like people from different continents look different because we adapt to our temperatures and our terrain and everything like that. So I'm just curious what aliens would look like. I don't think they'd look necessarily vastly different than we do, but again, then you look on the other side, I look nothing like my cat, and we're two creatures who live on the same planet. So who knows? Maybe they would be totally different.
But you also share traits with those creatures.
With
right?
a lot of, it's
like horses are like what, something couple off from being human. You know what I mean?
Pigs,
weird,
especially, like that's why they, the FBI and stuff, like do experiments on pigs because they're the closest in a lot of ways to humans, like skin wise and everything. So
there's this book. I'm going to bore you guys about talking about books again, but there's a book called Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke, and what he says is that these beings called the overlords come to Earth, right? And they visited our Earth throughout many generations. Like they came back when we were fucking cavemen, and they come back when we're the Stone Age, and so on and so on and so on, until we're ready to make the next step. And the last time they come back before the end of the story is that they look like what we describe as the devil in religion, because when one of the times they came back, they thought we were ready, but we weren't. And when they showed themselves to us, we were fucking terrified. And that's where the religion of the devil came from, with like horns, spiked tail and shit like that, because they're aliens. And I don't know, it's interesting because like, I don't know, it could be one of those things like where sci-fi movies guess a lot and get a lot right, similar to like Star Trek, predicting cell phones and video screens and shit like that. Could they have predicted stuff that's happened in the past? Yeah. Or even that aliens are us because of ancient civilizations that were on Earth and they fell off, whatever, and they left the planet and then they rose back up and all that shit. There's so many fucking rabbit holes you can go down to. This is probably the biggest thing next to Bigfoot that you can dive into. And
Right.
it's extremely interesting, but we'll never know until we know, right? Until an alien fucking goes above the White House or whatever. And
Exactly. Independence Day essentially is the only way. And
Yeah.
even then we'll be skeptical.
we're not gonna win. We can't win against something.
If
We
they
can
made it
barely
this
get to
far,
fucking moon.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So
Why-
going
so-
go on.
I won't. I have my own question. If they have been here and they have come here, why? Like, what do you think their I guess their
Probably
plan
science,
or their
right?
end game is?
Like, to
I
me,
think
it'd
like
be-
exploration, right?
Yeah,
like
exploration. That's
Yeah.
what we would do, right? That's why we go to Mars, and that's why we go to the moon, and that's why we're sending satellites to, Saturn, Jupiter, and beyond. So, I think it's just exploration. The more you know about the universe, the more you can adapt to life on planet and learn new technology and how different things work. And that's all I would think is exploration and science.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then, but also, it depends on like what theory you're following that day. Maybe they're visiting us because they're time travelers from our dimension, and they're coming to see back in the past, like Marty McFly does, or they're experimenting, or it's like Star Trek where they have the Prime Directive, right, where they can't interfere with lesser beings like us. And the reason they would crash is because our shit breaks all the time. How many times is like your phone working perfectly and then it shits the bed and you need a new one the next day? It's like same thing can happen to that.
So in that briefing they did, one of the questions was, do you think they're hostile or could be a threat to national security? And one of the guys said it's possible. So, I mean, do you think that? Do you think that's true?
Yes.
I mean, the way I agree too, and the way I look at it is there's good people and there's bad people out there, right? And just like same thing with aliens, there's probably ones that do want to be sort of world conquerors or whatever, or take over, just like obviously the days of our ancestors, where they were just fucking going and pillaging and whatnot and just taking over land,
getting slaves and all that
yeah,
shit.
right, exactly. So I think there is potential there for hostile, but I think there's also like we said, the exploration and just science as well.
Yeah, I think the possibility would be big, and I'll tell you why. Everything that you know on this planet, everything, yeah, like resource wise, everything you touch, everything you see, there's only so much of it, right? It's all things that are contained on Earth, and our population grows exponentially every single year, and we're starting to lose those resources because we're essentially running out. Sooner or later, if we want humans to survive, we're going to have to go to another planet. It's just the way it is. That our planet will not sustain our growth at this point, right? And I'm assuming other civilizations in other planets have the same issue. They're kind of relegated to their planet because right now we don't have a way to get resources from elsewhere. So if we knew about a planet out there that we could reach, that we think we could overtake, so we can take over that planet and start either take their resources or move humans there so that humankind can survive, I think we would do it regardless if you're a good person or not. It's survival instinct, and I think if aliens come all this way, maybe they want what we got.
Yeah, but to that point too, what is their motivation? Like, is it easier for them to just eradicate us and take our shit, or just move
Probably.
along? And that's why maybe we're seeing crash vessels. Like, oh, there's people here, too much trouble. Let's keep moving. That's a good point. And I think too, part of the reason why the government says it could be national security issues, because if something is more technologically advanced that we can't even fucking fathom, like we got the new F-35 and it's just a piece of shit compared to whatever they have, like the national security isn't us, it's the government losing their control over us. You know what I mean? It's like, it's those fucking guys that have to worry about their jobs. If the aliens are nice, right, and they want to help us and they want to get rid of all this carbon emissions and all that bullshit, then it's the guys that are in charge. They're going to lose their jobs. So of course they're going to, maybe that's why they're leaking stuff. It's to get the fear mongering going, like it's us versus them, and we'd be screwed anyway. So there's this really scary story, another fucking book, sorry. It's a really short story though, where the whole idea is, how we've sent out Voyager and we sent out like records with like languages and mathematics about the human race, so hopefully human race alien will get it. But we keep doing this, and we have SETI, we have searching for radio waves from planets and shit, and we keep sending signals out. And there's one where one day they get a response back and it says, be quiet, they're gonna hear you. So it's like another alien that's like peace loving, but there's also those fucking scary ass aliens that we see in horror movies, like, shut the fuck up, stop broadcasting, they're gonna come eat your ass. So I don't know, that story always stuck with me.
All right, now we're gonna go to a really deep question, as if we.
I saw an alien. I've told this story before.
Oh,
I stand by it.
Really? Okay. Well, you're gonna have to tell us that
100%.
story.
I'm not
You can't
fucking
just
making this up. There's no reason. Like, what do I gain from this? Is that I was younger and I heard like a humming noise. Looked outside my window and there was like what a F-17 looks like. Sorry, the stealth bomber. What it looks like, a triangle, and it was hovering about 2 telephone poles up, and it had 2 big lights, one at the tip of the triangle and then each at the back of the wings, but they weren't emitting light, but you can see the light from it, if that makes sense. So it wasn't like a flashlight, and it was just hovering there, and then it fucking just left. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But like, I don't know what it is. Like, do we have technology that can hover? Sure, like the Harrier jets and stuff like that, but those things are loud as fuck, and this was just silent and then left. So I don't know.
California?
Yep.
Not
Do you,
surprising.
do you, no, not surprising. But do you think is it possible there's technology that the government has and the military has that we don't know
Yeah,
about,
there is, dude.
and they're testing that shit? So that could be a lot of the UFO stuff we're hearing about as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they're reverse engineering stuff.
Right.
Steve knows more. You just can't talk about it.
Which is what they did in Independence Day.
Yeah.
They're reverse engineering all their technology since they found the. All right, now we're gonna go really deep, guys.
Nice.
So Evan,
Deeper. Shit.
I ate your cookie. Would you fuck an alien?
You're just a sick bastard for even asking this question.
Move
really.
along.
It's. Just like if you're attracted to it,
I guess. Huh?
sure, why not? Yeah,
So
it just depends what they look like, if they're down. Obviously,
Yeah.
obviously consent is very important in this conversation. So hey, if the alien's down, I'm down. Hey.
Okay, who's your ideal alien in movies?
Oh, In movies? Ooh, I don't know. That's a good
Mars
question.
Attacks
I'm trying-
prostitute.
is there any like super hot? Yeah, she's kind of yeah.
I mean,
What is
the-
that?
the-
Lisa Marie, right?
You know, the three-breasted Martian.
Yeah, there you go. Mhm.
Although
Hey, if
that
there-
she's human that went to Mars, so
You
maybe
know,
it doesn't.
I
count.
would be a little nervous though, right, about like penetrating an alien because you
It's got,
really
like,
don't
teeth in there or
know.
something.
Yeah, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into there. So
Mhm.
you know, for all
It's
you know,
risky.
you like it could like suck your life like force out or whatever, you know. So I'd be a little scary, I think. But if it was safe, sure.
Fuck it.
Yeah, for sure.
Literally.
All right. Last questions of the night here from Zomboy. Would you rather be stuck on a planet with predators or a spaceship with xenomorphs?
Oof. Either way, you're
It's
fucked.
a no-win situation either way.
Yeah.
I guess the predators, because at least like there's a form of escape. If you're fucking on a ship, you're fucked. I mean, there's literally no way to get away from them.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess the lesser of two evils would be the predator. I guess
Mm-hmm.
little bit of a shot.
Yeah, but predators have like more technology to find you.
That's
You
true.
know,
Right.
so
But they're defeated by mud.
that's true. Yeah, you just have to stay dirty all the time. You know.
Yeah, super jacked like Arnold, and then you can have a shot.
Yeah, maybe. He also asked, who would last the longest and why?
Against the
Okay.
predator?
Out of us, I guess. I don't know.
Oh.
Against aliens?
Yeah, both.
Joe
I
would
mean,
have sex with
Todd.
them.
Todd, right? Like
Right.
it's
Oh, Todd definitely. Todd has the
Thank you.
military background, so for sure, Todd. And
Exactly.
he's got guns.
we're just armchair generals, so it
Right.
doesn't really serve well in real life. So thank you everybody for the questions. Could not do this segment without you. It was a fun discussion and probably deeper than everyone expected, but it's a good time. We could go on this forever. Really, it's aliens is a hell of a subject.
Yeah, I lost connection briefly, but thank you for saying that I would survive longest.
Yeah,
Because Joe would just have sex with everybody.
right. Yeah.
I'd be getting drunk with the aliens. Like, hey, you guys ever tried rum before? Hey.
You're just like a pet.
Yeah.
Who's that?
You got-
That's
I-
Joe. We keep him around.
I have one last question because this came up recently, and I think it was one of those, sort of general briefings with the military. But one of the generals said that the aliens are just as scared of us as we are of them because they know about our nuclear technology, and
he's
that
just
they
trying to.
and that they are scared that we've created such powerful weapons. But I don't agree with that because I think they must have just as, if not more, advanced nuclear sort of weapons that could wipe us out. So I don't think I agree with that.
I don't either because obviously I'm not a scientist, but it seems like nuclear fusion or fission, whatever it is like a logical step for smart creatures. And why, if they can travel, why wouldn't they have discovered that? He's just trying to be like, we're good, we got nukes. Like, okay.
No, that's exactly. If they made it all the way here, I think they have the technology that could probably blow us away. That's just grandstandism at its best. It's just
Okay,
nothing.
but what if you guys have heard the theory that the aliens are from our own planet, that they live in the ocean? How do you feel about that? Because you have video allegedly of the aliens circling our battleships and then going into the fucking ocean. So what if they are?
That'd be the best place to hide, right? That's the.
Mhm.
Ironically, we know more about our space than we do about our oceans. So yeah, that'd be a great place to hide, is in a deep ocean.
Mm. Is there a theory that Loch Ness was like an alien and that like
so.
that's
It's a
maybe
dino.
that's a theory right there. Maybe Loch Ness was an alien that like
Maybe.
came up from the fucking bed of the Alionic Sea, and it's
I like it. That's the Meg 3.
yeah, exactly.
I love this shit though, man. Like inner Earth is a really cool theory that there's interior Earth.
That's a hell of a theory.
Oh, I know. Just
What was
like
it?
thriving.
Which movie explored that? Was it Godzilla vs Kong or one of the?
Yeah.
I mean, Journey to the Center of the Earth was like, I guess, the original one, but
Right, but recently I
Kong
think
had like a throne or something.
right, exactly, and that was Inner Earth. So
Kong like went to it, right? He was like
Yeah,
fucking
he
like
went to it.
floating
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just chilling out. Yeah.
rate the movie.
Oh, I forgot about the movie. I'm a solid 3.5 out of 5, man. I agree with you guys though. The everything except the abduction is kind of dull, but it makes sense to the story. But at the end of the day, like we want to see the horror movie, and that segment is just, I think, fucking amazing. So that's 3.5 out of 5.
I'm right there with you. 3.5 out of 5 as well. I really enjoyed watching it, even though it is a little long. I found the story really interesting. You know, it does drag at moments. It could have been a 4 had it maybe cut down a little bit, but as it stands, 3.5 out of 5 for me. It's that, I mean, that last 15, 20 minutes, it's just iconic. I mean, at this point, people still remember it to this day.
Yeah, I'm just slightly lower. I'm at a 3 out of 5. I just think it takes way too fucking long to get to the point. And they focus on things that are boring versus the really cool things that were happening. And that might be part of the issue with adapting a book, but you know, it needed more of the alien stuff, or at least focusing on different things. I don't know. It lost me there for a while, but that last like 20 minutes, fantastic. Really, really cool scene. I wish there was more of it.
This felt like an extended X-Files episode,
Yeah.
It did. Fuck, I love the
which is an
X-Files.
amazing show.
yeah, exactly. Actually, now that I think of it, maybe the movie would have been better if they just started it with him coming back, and the whole movie explores his PTSD and like slowly like showing what his experiences were, because I think that would be more interesting rather than them accusing loggers that are innocent of murder. So you know from the start that they're innocent, or at least make it ambiguous where you don't know. Did they kill them, or is it actually an alien? You know, until he shows back up. So I don't know. It was just a weird angle for it to me.
So
All
that
right.
motherfucker said aliens are afraid of us as we are as them.
He just
Son
said
of a
that
bitch.
he said they're scared of our nuclear technology.
And then he flexed the camera. Crazy.
I
And
mean,
he's
maybe
like,
they are.
America,
Maybe they are.
fuck
I mean,
yeah.
He
if
said,
they're
don't worry, we got you guys.
if they're peaceful aliens, I mean, I guess they could be, right? Like if they're just like wanting to like, hey, let's go and like, you know, make contact, but then they like, oh fuck, they got nuclear weapons. Like maybe we shouldn't. Like maybe they would kill us, you know?
Maybe in a sense that
Because
we're
we as
unstable as a
humans,
species.
that's what I'm saying. Like we as humans are very. I mean, we're getting ready to wrap up this episode and we're ready to dive into another fucking thing. But we as humans are scared of the unknown. So if like these peaceful aliens came down, like, do we trust that we probably would fucking blow them away?
They'd
You know
have
what
to
I
threaten
mean?
us.
Like I don't even think they would need to be threatened. Like I just think they see this thing flying in the sky, like unidentified, and it lands or something. The military's gonna be there with fucking guns and weapons all around it. It's gonna scare the shit out of them. You know what I mean?
No, I'm saying that the aliens would have to threaten us with like a show of force for us
Yeah.
to like, all right, because we'd fucking send nukes up into this. They're probably afraid we're gonna destroy our own planet if they show up.
Right. Yeah. Oh, very true.
But why would they tell us all this stuff if they're not already here?
Hmm.
Interesting. Maybe they're a listener.
Well,
That'd be cool.
the truth is out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Mulder.
Maybe one day we will find it out.
Maybe we'll have an alien on as a guest one day.
Yeah, why not, right?
And
It's
he
the
can pick
perfect
apart
time.
this
Yeah.
Maybe we already have.
Oh fuck! What if we have the one that abducted Travis? He's like,
Men in
man, that guy's
Black?
a little bitch, dude.
Do you
Oh,
think? Do you
man.
think like how about the Men in Black theory that there are like aliens already on Earth living, or even they live, that there are aliens on Earth living amongst us? Is it possible?
It's just the why. What do they gain? It's not like our planet's awesome for everybody.
Sort
far
of
from
like
it.
think of like sort of spies, right? They're like here to see like what's going on, you know, and then they're reporting back to their universe.
And they're just getting fat because they're eating all our fast food and shit.
They're just gathering, collecting information,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they could be here for a month, you know, and then they just disappear, you know. Who knows? I mean, think about all the strangers you see on, you know, walking amongst us, you know.
hmm
Just because they're, you know, we don't know. They might not be human. So let that one sit on you guys for a little bit. There's another
That's your
one.
final thought.
Yes.
Don't trust strangers.
Jerry's final thought. Joe's final thought. Take care of yourself and each other. Thank you.
Also stock up on ammunition.
All right. All right. Is that it, gentlemen?
I
for
mean,
our
I can keep
alien
going for like.
I mean, all right, yeah,
forever.
we really could. It was a
Yeah.
great discussion tonight for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed our review of Fire in the Sky. Next week, we are going to be watching Steve's pick of Feed Me, which is currently available completely free for American listeners anyway over on Tubi. So you can check it out there. You can keep up with our podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. You can email us anytime, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. But of course, as you know it, the absolute best way to keep up with our podcast is our Discord, completely free to join. All you gotta do, just send us a DM through any of our socials, and we will get you that link to the Discord. Save the date, October 20th through the 22nd. We are still working on an event. It is coming along, I promise. Something is going to happen. With the strike, things are progressing slower than we want, but it seems like something is definitely going to happen. So save those dates if you'd like to come out. Salem, Massachusetts, October 20th through the 22nd. And merch, tpublic.com. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast and you will find our merch over on there. We are working on a new design, I believe. Hopefully we'll have that out to you guys by October. And I think that's about it. 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. That would be amazing as well. We appreciate that. That really helps the podcast. So that is going to be it. And we'll see you guys next week for Feed Me. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.